Interesting species is a human being. All of us know that we're designed for more, designed for greatness. And let me tell you why. Is because when we're in the presence of greatness, we see a piece of ourselves in that, in them. When we see someone that's doing something that's extraordinary, we identify ourselves in that. That's why it makes the back of our hair on the neck stand up, right? And when we witness that, it has nothing to do with talent, and it has nothing to do with skill. What resonates the most with us is when we see someone with heart that's overcoming to become. They're doing what isn't as if it were.
So when you go from very uncomfortable to comfortable, like I was now, I wasn't in training, I wasn't drowning, you never want to go back to being uncomfortable again. When you're insecure like I was and you're afraid of everything like I used to be, you lie really fast because you don't want the person knowing that you're... So I sat there and I said, you know what? The doc didn't know a whole bunch about sickle cell, so I'm not comfortable going back into training. The CEO bit off on it, and I never quit, but he gave me a medical out of pararescue. But you all know I quit, then we'll go back in the water. But I ain't telling anybody that for several years. So in that time frame of 4 years, that became 297 pounds. Very minimal education, as you all know. And I get a job spraying for cockroaches. At the end of the show, this commanding officer comes up at graduation. There's 22 guys that made it through. And the commanding officer says, we live in a world where mediocrity is often rewarded. These men detest mediocrity. And I sat there and I had time to reflect back on my life. Being bullied, coming from nothing, learning disability, messed up foundation. Life isn't fair at all. At all. So what are you gonna do about it? I knew that no one was coming back to help me. No one was gonna miracle me to be somebody special. Everybody that called me nigger, my dad, my mom, all my situations were on me now, and solely on me. So I had to start developing an indestructible mental toolbox. So I sat there on that couch and I realized, man, I am a piece of... And even though the world helped me get here, my false reality helped me even more. Everything you do, you may have some support, you may not, but it's on you. You have to make the decision whether you want to be a badass or whether you just want to be mediocre and everything's okay. But being a badass hurts real bad. The car may say 130 miles an hour. The factory puts a governor on it, so you only go 91. So you're sitting there when to race somebody, they have no governor, they're fine, boom. You can't, because every time you get to 91, the car starts doing this. We put a governor on our brain, and the second we get to that governor, our bodies start doing this. Oh, this sucks, this is uncomfortable. No, let's go this way, let's stop. It starts giving you all these questions that we cannot answer. If you can't answer the questions your brain's asking you, you quit. If you have the answers to those questions of why the hell am I out here, and you give it a quick answer, the brain starts shutting up because it knows why we're doing what we're doing. I started figuring these things out in my life. So we have this governor on our brain, and how you start pushing past that governor, start realizing your brain has the tactical advantage over you. Why? Because it knows your insecurities. It knows when you're lying, it knows your fears, it knows everything about you. And whenever those things start, like right now, I'm scared to death up here. Why? When I was in 6th grade, I was in a play. And I stood up in front of a whole bunch of white people that probably didn't, I was being judged in my mind. Scared the shit out of me. And I stuttered severely bad. I knew I stuttered bad. My line was this long. It was like, hello or some shit. And I stood up for everybody, I was like this. And I walked off stage. So when I walk up in front of 1,200 people, it's still there. My mind's telling me, go, run off the stage. I have to tell my mind something different. I have to remember my resume, what I've been through, that all of you in here are just as fucked up as me. We post our real life, never on Instagram. We post the life that we want to have out there. That's not me anymore. I'm gonna tell you exactly about me, who I am. That's how you get better. That's how you fix yourself. That's how you grow. You know, I'm not a theorist, people. There's a bunch of people who are theorists who go to the library, study the mind. They study it in a book. I studied it by being a practitioner. I put my mind in hell, and I realized how it was thinking. And I figured out tools and tactics on how to get through it by being in it, not by studying it, by being in it. And literally, that's how I started callousing over. You know how, so I did, I did 67,000 pull-ups in 9 months, and it calloused my hands. It calloused my hands real good to protect my hands against the bar. I started learning how to callous my mind, to callous over my victim's mentality. And that's what I did. Understand something, people. We are leaving a lot on the table. My book is called Can't Hurt Me. Why is it called Can't Hurt Me? Life isn't fair. We have to understand that. It shouldn't be fair. It's a trial ground, it's a testing ground. It's built to make us harder. It's built to make us as strong as we can, to test us, to drive us. So, mentality is the only thing that gets us through life. I was an underdog. We are all underdogs in life. Even the baddest person in the world should think that way. So you should always have I've never arrived mentality. And the can't hurt me mentality is no matter where you come from, the sewer or wherever you think you're from. When I got out of the sewer, I got to the road and looked around and said, can't hurt me. Nothing should be able to hurt you. If you believe that, it starts to become true. Leadership is being very uncomfortable all the time. It is holding yourself to such a standard that is almost untouchable. You may not have any friends. You may have a jacked up life. Maybe you have a jacked up marriage. It's being unbalanced. You've literally dedicated your life to a higher cause, a higher purpose beyond you. And it takes that person in your life to understand your mission. And it's totally mission oriented. It's that guy that's like, okay, let's say we're gonna work out at 5 o'clock and I'm in charge, I'm the leader. My guys and my girls, whoever it may be, need to see me running to work at 3:30. I need to take every excuse that they may have away from them. They need to see me outworking them every day, not trying to put them down, but saying, God, man, if he's doing this, man, so when I tell you to do something, you can't say no. You realize, fuck, he's getting after it every day. I cannot say no to him. He's leading by example. So that's what it's all about. It's about, and people say lead by example. It's so easy to say that, man. It's so easy to say that, but to do that every day, to wake up every day miserable and say, God, I don't want to do this anymore, that's when you know you're a leader. When you're at that point and you're saying to yourself, every night is Groundhog's Day. Every single day, you know, I'm going back in the lab again, man. I'm going back in the lab every single day. You know it's not going to end. That's when you know you're being a leader, when your life truly is it sucks. It's just truth, man. Being a leader is horrible. It is. I did it for a lot of years, man. And you get to set that bar even higher. Because you have to have something, so, you know, for people to look for, people to reach. Is you have to believe that you are here on this earth. So it changed my whole mindset, really. I was thinking, like, why the hell did God put me here? What am I doing here? If you have that mentality, it could be nothing. You have to believe that you are here for a reason. That there's some reason, me getting beat up, me getting tortured, me being bullied, me being with no foundation, me having to figure all this shit out on my own, figure out this indestructible mental toolbox, had to be for a reason. And my reason, I believe now, I know for a fact, was to unlock the code to human potential. And for me to share that with people. But this is the thing though, it's easier said than done.
Right.
On the other end of suffering is a life that many people don't know even exists. It's a beautiful world, because like the 40% rule. We all live in this world where our brains are keeping us in this box. Outside that box, on the other edge of suffering, which is on the other edge of that 40%, is a world that's endless of opportunity. But we are afraid to go outside that box because in that box is comfortable. That's where all of our nice stuff, you know, that's where the nice 4-lane highway's at. I know where the restrooms are at. I know where the gas stations are at. Outside that box, man, God gives you a shovel and says, man, start digging. That's not fun. But when you dig your own path to all kind of stuff that's unknown. And that's what I started realizing, man, like on the other end of this is some beautiful stuff. So I got outside my box and realized, man, 300 pounds, now look at me, I'm 185 pounds, and on the other side of the box was all this stuff. And I didn't know it was over there until I climbed the wall. Why? Because it's a cookie cutter way. Life isn't cookie cutter. Like 3.14 is pi. It's how you figure out equations. We're all different equations. We all have a story. We all have to strengthen our mind to figure out our own equation. Once you figure out your own equation in life, you can then start picking away at how to be better. But you first have to figure out your equation in life. Once you figure that out, man, you can do anything.
You know, I believe inherently everyone knows that they have more inside on them. Everybody wants more.
Right.
You know, and we want to do more, we want to achieve more, but in order to do that, we have to become more, right? And then we have something to contribute. You can't give what you don't have. And I think that identifying is half the battle. What is holding you back? You know, what are those, what do you call it, false sense of realities that you're putting down? But what would you suggest or recommend for anyone in here that they're on that tipping point of breaking through? You know, they're on that tipping point. Because right now, we have this incredible environment where the energy's high, people's mindset's right. In the military, you all are trained in environments. That's why they tried to, you know, drown you. And I remember last time you told a story of being put in like the Black Ocean, you know, overnight. But what would you suggest to them? Their path to their more, their path to their better. You know, that's kind of like our entire mantra as a company. Why we do what we do is to pursue better so we can inspire other people to do the same. But if we're not pursuing it, then we're not doing it. What would you recommend for them when they go back into those environments of what to expect? And, you know, what's maybe a tool that you would recommend for them to try on to see if it fits?
Well, the biggest thing, I like what you're saying, because my big saying is motivation is crap. Right now, a lot of you right now can be motivated as hell, go out of here and be like, yeah, I'm motivated. Like you said, you're right. Without being driven or obsessed, this motivation fades. And motivation is at the all-time high when your bills are paid, when your wife or husband is good, and everything is good, you're motivated. It's that person when all hell breaks loose and everything falls apart that says, I still gotta get it in. And how you get to that point in life, what I figured out, it's so noisy right now. This world is so noisy. We all walk around these phones, computers. The world is so fast. We're not able to think. The most powerful weapon in the world we walk around with. It's our mind. It's our brain. You have to be able to go into a very dark place in your mind and figure who you are. Go back to what you want to do. What's your purpose? We can't figure our purpose out or why we're here or why we were born or whatever, because it's so loud in our mind. We don't have any quiet time with ourselves to sit back and say, what do I really want? There's so many different dialogues in our head that we can't think. So my biggest thing is you have to be alone in a very dark place in your mind and think about what is important to you.
And so, kind of piggyback on that, you spend a lot of time alone. What is something that you learned about yourself through your process or your journey?
I learned I was leaving a lot of things, and that's what scares me the most. I'm good now, but what haunts me is that at 24 years old, I was 300 pounds, and if I didn't make the right turn, if I decided to just give in to the feelings I had, I would have died a 300 or 400 pound man working some minimum wage job in my casket, never knowing that I was this guy. And what fear, so I believe in God. And what scares me the most is I believe that God, in my own mind, I'm a big visualization person. So what keeps me going is like visualizing. It's not true, but it helps me. I believe that God had this big chart in heaven. And when you get there, if you earn your right to get there, you get there in heaven, and you get there, let's say I walked up at 300 pounds. And God says, hey man, great job, you made it to heaven. And he rips this page down from Brian Underwood. And now it says David Goggins' chart. He rips it down, throws that paper to the side. And he says, look at this. And I'm reading it. I go, what is this? He goes, how much do you weigh? 300 pounds. What did you do? I was a pest control guy for 40 years. He says, this is what you were supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? A 185-pound person be able to run 205 miles, break the pull-up record, motivate people, energize people, make them driven, make them passionate, make them find more. So am I in heaven or in hell? That's what motivates me. It scares me also, because I believe that we are all leaving a lot on the table. And now when I go to heaven, what I want God to look at me and say is, as you were living, I'm the all-knowing man. I had to get a damn marker out and write more as you were living. You see what I'm saying? I want to impress him. That's what I'm here for. I want to do the impossible. Impossible.
You know, I heard a speaker when I was 20 years old and say something very similar. And I heard him speak and like it hit me, like that hit me, right? And it hit everybody in here. But that thought goes through everyone's mind at some point in time in their life. If it doesn't, I don't believe that they're alive, right? But he talked about, you know, you're going to go meet your maker one day and he's going to look at you and he's going to say, I gave you all this potential. What did you do with it? Like it's almost like an interview.
Everybody's story does either harm or good to them. You have to go back in there, in that muck, face that muck, fix that. Because what happens is, when I was in Navy SEAL training, one of my jobs was to train guys to get through Navy SEAL training. And what I started realizing is I was training these guys, they were getting bigger, stronger, faster, all this other stuff. But they would still quit. All I was doing was building bigger, stronger, faster quitters. And I started down, I was like, what the hell am I doing wrong, man? I was changing all the external crap. I wasn't going into the internal and changing what really matters. So that's what the first step is, and I talk about it a lot in my book about how, like the steps about doing that, man. But the first step you have to do is face yourself and be accountable for what you're not. So then you can be what you want to be. But first face what you're not. So I like Gary Vee, but I'm not tripling down on strengths. I'm tripling down on weaknesses. That's what I do.
That's, you like basketball.
Oh yeah.
We talked basketball when we first met, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you were good. You wanted to watch Trey.
Yeah, Trey Young.
Yeah.
Yep.
You like Michael Jordan, right?
I met him when I was 12 years old.
Yeah. His energy, like, just when like, you could feel his, I don't know, at least I did when I met him, but the thing that it's always unique about Michael Jordan, we talk about this a lot at the events, is that he could have become very complacent, very casual whenever, you know, he became the scoring leader and the all-star. And, but for Michael, his brain was not, you know, be the greatest in the game at that time. It's, can I be the greatest that's ever played the game? So what he did is he went in the gym, they said he couldn't play defense. He started focusing. When you say double down on your weakness, I think this is what you mean. He started focusing in on defense.
Right.
And then 2 years later, he's a defensive player of the year. Then they said, well, you can't shoot. You know, then the next year he shoots like 40% from three-point line. Is that what you mean by?
Exactly. It's about, so I hated the water. Hated the water. And that was about being in that box. If I didn't get over my fear of being, of being in the water, I'd never be a SEAL. I'm gonna be up here right now. I have no story to share. By me saying, okay, man, I'm afraid of the water, and that's kind of shackling my mind, it's by facing those things, that's how you open up different doors of your life. Because all these things that we're afraid of, they're doors that can possibly lead you to a whole other world. But we keep them shut for fear, for insecurities. And that's one thing about tripling down on your weaknesses, so then those weaknesses end up becoming your strengths.
Right. Y'all get that, right? Very cool. Quick question. We talked about it backstage, authenticity, and I think that like authenticity is because judgment runs so rampant in the world, right? and it's usually about the person that's judging rather than the person that they are judging. But we talk about authenticity is, it's almost like a buzzword now or a cliche word in terms of, oh yeah, let's be authentic. But what does authentic, being authentic mean to you? Like what is your views on authenticity, and what is the power of being authentic?
It's the ultimate power to stand in front of other people, and y'all can ask me any question you want to, and I'll answer it. That right there is what I talk about authenticity. It's being able to know that your life is jacked up, that we all come from a past that maybe bad or good, and to own it, and not to be ashamed of it, to not be afraid for people to judge you, not care what other people think, to be able to walk around in your own skin and be so comfortable in it that you can write your whole life, all the bad, not the good, all the bad on the billboard, and walk around like this. This is me, man. This is me. That's authenticity to me. And when you get to that point, when you can walk around with those middle fingers up, not really like being mean to people, but saying, judge me, man. This is it. This is who I am, but I'm fixing it. I'm not just letting it it's not defining who I am, but that's a part of my life. And it's just owning who you are and not being ashamed of it.
Strong. And, I'm just curious, like right now you have a lot of perspective that can bring value to everyone's life, right? Because everyone's gone through something, and you've got through the other side. We're not fragile people. And, I always find it interesting to find what someone's grateful for as they look back. So like gratitude, as you're moving forward in your life, what are the things that you hold the dearest from a gratitude standpoint or a reflection standpoint?
Honestly, man, it's the story I just told you all right now. That is my dearest thing in my life. Like, top 5 publishing house came to me and wanted to buy my life story, Can't Hurt Me, for $300,000. And for a guy that makes, in the military, I made 70 grand my whole life. They came to me 8 months ago when I was writing my book, and they said, we're gonna offer you, as a first-time offer, $300,000, a lot of damn money. And I was getting ready to sign the contract. And I sat there with my fiance and I was like, I can't do it. She said, this is a lot of damn money. And I'm like, I wouldn't sell my wife for anything in the world. What I did, what I overcame, all the struggles, all the trials and tribulations. So I self-published. Turned the contract down and self-published.
One thing that you said at the last event that resonated with me is had to do with the book. We talk about being a legend or leaving a legacy. When it's all said and done, you were mentioning the perspective of, look, you're writing your story right now,
right?
And you're the author of your story, but you had a little bit of definition of. One of the things that you want to do is make sure that when you finish your story, if you gave it to someone...
That's right. Will it change their life forever? That's right. So my whole thing was, I'm kind of far out in my thinking. I'm a real deep thinker because I use my mind to get over so many obstacles. And as I was writing my book, I started writing it a long time ago. And my whole thing is, let's say you're in the hospital bed and you're getting ready to die and somebody walks in the room. And you don't know them, they don't know you, and you have one copy of your book, and it's sitting right there on the table. And you're taking your last breath, and you're talking to this person, and you say to them, I want you to read this book. As you're dying, think about this. That book that you just wrote, that woman, man, whatever, reading that book, would it change their life forever? And if it's not changing their life forever, you have to rewrite your book. You have to start rewriting it right now.
You've obviously, coming through the military, you either had friends, mentors, acquaintances, coaches, figures in your life that have helped you forge this toolbox or this mindset, or people that you respect, leadership that you've respected. What were qualities in them that that inspired you, or that helped you grow? And those mentors or those coaches, what would you say the significant factor was? And the reason I'm asking this is because, like, in leadership coaching dynamics that we do, a lot of people believe that being likable is the key to leading people or being a cheerleader. But I'm just curious on how you would answer that question.
I don't respect a whole bunch of people, but the few that I did respect are the people who were uncommon amongst uncommon people. And what that means is those people who weren't afraid to stand alone. Those people who have morals, values, and who did not go with you. If all you guys are going left, it's that one person who say, what, left's not the right way. I'm gonna go right. We didn't follow the crowd. That person is not afraid of doing what they believe is right in their heart and not following someone else because someone else said, let's go this way, and they agree with everybody. I don't like yes men or yes women. If you're right, you're right. We're gonna follow you. I like people who stand for something, they believe in something, and this is the way I'm gonna go whether you like me or not. And that's what it's about.
So in your life, is there a coach or a mentor that you interface with that you had a lot of respect for?
I had several people, but don't take this wrong. I believe that we are our own hero. And if you have a culture, let's say right now you guys idolize me, and then tomorrow I go outside and I have some kind of issue. I can let you down. I'm human. All your mentors, everybody you like, we're human. You got to put yourself on that pedestal, hold yourself to a higher standard, hold yourself accountable, and then look up to yourself. I'm not saying kiss your own ass, but I'm saying hold yourself to a standard and look within inside yourself and try to be the best you can be. We start trying to mimic somebody else. Don't be them, be you. And that's kind of my mindset.
Very cool.